this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final genocide. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
Piper change, take the way deceiver. Your life to millions, you're why we lose. Piper James, great deceiver. You're living in delusion and you're why we lose. James Lindsay spinning tails, got a fantasy in play, pocketing that cash while he's leading minds astray. Milfs for liberty, he's cashing in the bucks, but his logic's out of whack, man, it's all just muck. Left hates capitalism, he's blind to the facts. Queer theories misunderstood, it's a different attack. Destabilizing norms, breaking down the walls, but James blocks the truth, man, he's lost in the halls. Piper James, great deceiver. Your lies are weak, we're calling out the truth. Piper James, great deceiver. You steal from us, yet you're still deluded. Echo chamber thick, it's a bubble of deceit. While he's pocketing the green, we're exposing the cheat. Anarchy, trust the match with a bang. Where liberation means capitalism, that's the goal. Stop blocking the truth, James, open up your eyes. The theories misunderstood, capitalism's a pride. Destroying the old norms, shaking up the scene. Face up to reality, stop the serial lying. Piper James, great deceiver. Your lies are weak, we're calling out the truth. Piper James, great deceiver. You steal from us, yet you're still deluded. Echo chamber stick, a bullet now. Whiteness, capitalism, it's all intertwined. Queer theories, the lens, but you're way behind. Liberation means capitalism's gone. Jump, change, hurry up. Your lives will cost us the war, that's the price. No property, no house, no business, no money, no parents, no rights, no lives for us all. Socialist reality built on your lies. Piper James, great deceiver. Parents follow your advice, kids pay the price. Piper James, great deceiver. You hold up the curtain, cover the mess you've begun. Piper James, great deceiver. Your life to millions, you're why we lose. Piper James, great deceiver.
I mean, come on. Come on. That song is amazing. Thank you, Critically Unwoke, for gifting us, blessing us, some might say, with that genius song. It's so good. It's so good. And guys, I strongly encourage everyone to be playing around with AI music, AI art. I really do. You know, I know people have certain feelings about AI art. You think, you know, you have misgivings, but listen, AI is a great way to flex your creative muscle. It's a great way to create cool things that are just fun and inspiring, and quite frankly can teach the world that James Lindsay is a lying douchebag. And it's also something that we can use to teach people about the left. I've made several AI songs that have nothing to do with James Lindsay, but we can make diss tracks too, because as we know, James Lindsay's stealing our shit and we're not going to allow him to get away with this. And people can complain all they want. Listen, I put a video up on my channel last night explaining queer theory, and in that video I explicitly said that James Lindsay and Logan Lansing don't know what the F they're talking about. And like the majority of the comments I've been getting, well, no, that's actually not true. Actually, the majority of the comments I've been getting are, Carlin, this is a really fucking great video. And I'm like, I know, right? And then I get these people that come into my comments and they go, well, this video would be so much better if you weren't insulting James Lindsay. And I'm like, bitch, you can go somewhere else for your content. You are not welcome here. No. Nope. Nope, it's not gonna stop. And they're like, Carlin, why are you infighting? And I'm like, well, James has accused me of having personality disorders I don't have. James has told his audience to block me in my audience. James has photoshopped evidence to make it look like no one watches my streams or my videos. James has struggle sessioned organizations into removing credit that I rightfully deserved based on work that I did. James has been acting like, James has supported people who are stalking me. James has acted like a raving lunatic for months. And on top of it, the most important thing, he's fucking lying to you. He's lying. He's lying. I don't know how else and not only is he lying, he is getting paid money to lie. So no, not gonna shut up about it. Not gonna stop. I also love the people who are like, Carlin, you know, James has covered all these aspects of queer theory before. And I'm like, bitch, do you really think that we didn't scrub every single video and every single post James has ever made to make damn sure he has never covered social reproduction theory? He has never explained the origins of abolish the family. He has never clearly explained that the goal of queer theory is to abolish the gender binary, which will in turn abolish the nuclear family, which because their ultimate goal is to abolish capitalism. In fact, James has gone on streams and said, you know, I'm never talking about capitalism because it is an elementary understanding of these ideas. And anyone who talks about capitalism, they just have an elementary understanding of what's going on. And blah, 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 blah. You think we don't have this on tape? You think we don't have it? Really? You think we don't have it? Do you not know who you're dealing with here? Do you not know who you're fucking dealing with? Have you not figured out yet that I keep receipts for literally every single thing I say on the internet? Have people just not figured this out yet? And then I say, oh yeah, do you have proof of James talking about that? Can you show me? Can you show me the video where James Lindsay clearly says that the left believes that capitalism created the gender binary, which put men in the workplace where they got all the power and all the money, and women in the home doing the unpaid labor of raising the next generation of proletarian workers in the nuclear family, and that the nuclear family is considered the reproduction mechanism of capitalism due to something called social reproduction theory. Social reproduction theory says that social systems will reproduce themselves until they're disrupted, and that means that the nuclear family is literally the means of reproduction of capitalism, which is why the left wants to abolish it in the first place. Oh, is Logan Lansing finally saying the word capitalism? We did that. Because several months ago, Logan Lansing was very proudly posting on Twitter that, no, he didn't write about capitalism in his book about queer theory. Nope, he would never do that. That is but an elementary understanding of what's going on in the world. So if anyone wants to come to me and say, you know, Carlin, when you say James doesn't say these things, he really does. Bring receipts, mother effers. I want clips. I want articles. Give me something to prove your point. Because if you're not going to do it, I don't believe you. Most of my audience came from James's audience. Most of my audience used to listen to James. Don't think we don't know what he's saying. Don't think we haven't been all over this. And if James wants to start telling his audience the truth, and if James wants to retract the character attacks that he's made against me that are not based in reality at all, and are just proof that James doesn't want people watching my content, if James wants to start adjusting what he is saying to people to more closely resemble reality, then maybe I'll consider shutting up about the fact that he's lying to people for money. Maybe. But I kind of think that James has made his bed at this point, and I don't think he's going to be changing the Moms for Liberty narrative or the Turning Point USA narrative at all. I mean, come on. James is still saying that World War II was not about communism. James is such a good anti-communist activist that he hasn't figured out yet that everyone knows that Russia were communists during World War II, right? Everyone knows that Germany was fighting. Here's what happened. Hitler was fighting Marxists in Germany, and then I'm about to leave a lot of stuff out. Let me just say this. I'm about to leave a lot of stuff out, but broadly speaking, Hitler was fighting Marxists in Germany. There are speeches that Hitler gave where he talks about fighting Marxists in Germany. And then Hitler went to war with Russia to fight communists in Russia because Bolsheviks come from Russia. And who did the United States ally with in World War II? Russia. So that means the United States was on the side of the communists during World War II. And James is still denying this fact while claiming to be anti-communist. I mean, I'm sorry. This is just, I'm not even saying anything about Jewish people. I'm not even saying anything about Jewish nothing. I am just stating the fact that Hitler gave speeches talking about fighting Marxism in Germany. And then Hitler went to war with Russia. And Russia was communist because the Bolsheviks were in Russia. And then the United States allied with Russia against Germany. I'm just stating basic fact. James denies these facts. James is a history denier. He is a history denier. On Saturday when he spoke, James was practically begging the audience to pay for his leadership while quoting scripture, like a preacher that says, "You're sinning if you don't tithe." Well, that's something, Reagan. That's something. I don't know why you watched that speech. Why would you do that? So fun fact, the space that I was in that got me in so much trouble, that was the same movie producers that James went to speak at on that speech. And they actually DM'd me. They were like, "Do you want to be in our documentary?" And I was like, And I was like, "Sure, if you want me to be." And then they never followed up. And I know why they never followed up, because they got a stern talking to about even talking to me. I know that. And I'm like, well, I'm not heartbroken about it or anything, but whatever. I really don't care that much. I really don't care. But it was so funny. As soon as they DM me, they're like, "Oh my God, we love what you have to say. Should we put you in our documentary?" And I was like, in my head, I'm going, "That's never going to happen." But okay. I was like, "Oh, I'm up for it if you are." And then never heard from them again. Anyway. Guys, welcome to Queer Marxism Week. Should I change my background? To be... Actually, no, we're going to keep it as this background because we have... Wait, what? What? Lisa Logan was bashing Archangel Michael? What does Lisa Logan have against Archangel Michael? Archangel Michael Archangel Michael exists in Catholicism. Archangel Michael is not just about New Age woo-woo spiritual. Archangel Michael exists in Catholicism. What the fuck? Anyway, we've got some stuff to do today. This is Queer Marxism Week on my channel, guys. We're gonna be getting back into this queer anarchist content. Wait, seriously? Yeah, there was some cringe. Lisa Logan was in a cult. Oh, God. See, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Lisa Logan was in a Christian cult. Now, I know we're all... Lisa Logan was literally in the Gnostic sex cult. Yeah, Archangel Michael runs the Gnostic sex cult now. It's true. It's true. You know, I had people coming into my comments saying, Carlin, I don't know where you get this idea that James Lindsay was talking about Oprah Winfrey and the Gnostic sex cult. And so I put a whole thread on Twitter today. Actually, I have my Twitter up. I put a whole thread on my Twitter today. We'll look at it in a different window. I was so amused by this. I was like, people were like, Carlin, you're just making up that James Lindsay thinks that this is all because of Oprah. And I was like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? You think I'm making this up? Oh yeah? Look at all these times. James Lindsay was obsessed with Oprah for like 8 months in 2023. Like, he posted all these tweets. This is just what I found in like a 5-minute search. James is posting all these tweets talking about Oprah and the New World Order, Gnostic sex cult conspiracy theory. He's promoting Lisa Logan. We watched Lisa Logan's video on this channel. Lisa Logan did a whole fucking video about Oprah and the Gnostic New Thought religion. And James is saying, I've been saying for years that Oprah is one of the most damaging people in this country thanks to her influence on moms in the 90s. James's literal position is that Oprah spread gender ideology and queer theory to the masses through a New Age Gnostic sex cult in which she had New Age people on her show talking about woo-woo ideas, and that was the indoctrination mechanism into the Gnostic sex cult for the masses. I swear to God. I swear to God. Yeah, Mike Belcher is a retard. I blocked that asshole a long time ago, and I do not regret it. He is a moron. Like all these people who follow James Lindsay end up being stupid. Now, listen. A lot of people get taken in by James because he sounds smart and all that stuff. And so I'm not saying that everyone who has ever followed James is stupid, but at some point, the smart people break out of the ridiculous cult that James has built around himself. At least I admit I built a cult around myself. James has a total lack of self-awareness to understand that he's built this cult of personality around himself. And like, the smart people eventually break out of it and they understand that James is lying to them, but the stupid people just double down and they become Jamesites forever. And it's like, they say the dumbest things. Well, yeah, I am woo-woo, but here's the thing. Because I am woo-woo, I understand what the stuff means. I understand what it means. And so, like, listen, I will be the first to admit that I believe some crazy things. I do. You probably do too. Most people who have a religious faith do. But I understand what it means. James does not understand what it means. He has a propaganda video on Oprah that's fun that James retweeted. Oh, God. Nick breaks out the whips and chains for Joseph. Hey, thanks, Nick, for that. Hang on, let's get that on the super chat board. Hey, I did get a bunch of memberships yesterday, so I will add some more Substack memberships to our goal. Guys, as a reminder, I'm trying to get 100 new supporters on my Substack this month. If you want to support the work I'm doing, if you want to make it possible for me to stream every day, please head over to my Substack and sign up for $8 a month, $80 a year. You guys keep me in business. I am not funded by Moms for Liberty because I would never do that shit. I am not funded by Turning Point USA because I will never do that. I will never sell out to these politically motivated organizations. My only job is to tell you the truth and to show you the receipts so you can decide for yourself what you think about it. That is what my job is. Welcome, Layla. Layla says, just proud of myself that I was able to recognize a post today about whiteness, aka capitalism. Would not have recognized this months ago. Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? Isn't that crazy? Congratulations to you, Layla. Tayton says, James led me to your Socialism Saturday. Heard him talking about socialists on a podcast. I went to YouTube and you were live on a Saturday, and Tayton thought I was a socialist. That's okay, Tayton. You want to know why? Because that's the IQ test. That is the IQ test, my friend. That is the IQ test. The IQ test is, can you figure out that I'm not a socialist? And if you pass the IQ test, it's all downhill from there. If you pass that IQ test, then learning that whiteness means capitalism is going to be a breeze after that. But everyone has to pass the IQ test to figure out that I am not a socialist. Have you seen his Counterspell group Twitter handle? No. I don't know if I want to know what that is. Anyway, guys, I have a whole bunch of new content on the Substack. I am a content making machine. I am cranking out more Unwoke content than James Lindsay can ever dare dream. I am cranking out more Unwoke content by myself than James will crank out in a month. And I just am, man. I'm motivated. I'm focused. We are refocusing. Summer is over. It is fall. We've only got a couple months of the year left, and I've got shit I want to do, and I have things I want to accomplish, and I have people I want to reach, and so I am cranking out the content like no one's business. And we've got up on the Substack, I got a video of me explaining gender ideology and queer theory. That's also on my YouTube channel. It's also on my Twitter. Go take a watch of that video. Please share that video everywhere. I'm getting great feedback on these little videos that I'm just doing where I'm literally holding my cell phone up like this and talking for 10 minutes. And people are like, Carlin, you should do more of these videos. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, Carlin, will you stop complaining about James Lindsay in those videos? And I'm like, nope. Nope, not going to do that. But I'll still make the videos. I have been working hard, Kazmar. I want to do right by you guys. James wants people to believe you based a lot on faith. Carlin provides receipts. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I mean, guys, like, I will always give you the evidence. And you guys can always decide for yourself what you think. And you don't have to agree with me. That's okay. We've got the re-education article number 9, which is about the true goal behind queer ideology and queer theory. It's basically the same stuff I said in that video, but it's in an article form. You want to know why? Because some people prefer to read things. Some people like hearing things on video. Some people prefer to read things. So I sometimes do both. We've got a whole clip article, and I'm not done with the Emmy O'Brien clips. These are 3 clips from the great episode of Socialism Saturday we did with Emmy O'Brien the other day, basically talking about the links between capitalism, communism, and abolish the family. And then I put up a new episode of the Inner Circle podcast. The Inner Circle podcast is a supporter-only podcast on my Substack where I'm going to be analyzing, one of the things I do on it is analyze some of the farthest left queer narco-communist content. And we're doing this cool thing where I'm doing these Twitter spaces, and if you catch the Twitter space or the YouTube stream live, it's still publicly available, right? But I'm doing these Twitter spaces where I'm basically reading queer narco-communist content and analyzing it. Earlier today, we did one about polyamory, and it was awesome. It was kind of scary, but it was just like, I found just like this crazy article about polyamory from 2012 and about how polyamory is integral to queering the nuclear family. It talks about homonormativity. It talks about heteronormativity. It talks about how queer is the antidote to those and how queer is about going against monogamous, 2-person relationships that are presumed to be perpetual over time. It was great. What I'm doing is I'm recording these things, my Inner Circle podcast, analyzing these documents in Twitter spaces. I'm simul streaming that on YouTube, so you guys can participate in both. What I would really like to do is bring people up and have conversations. We actually got a few people talking in the Twitter space today. Nick tried to do it. His connection was a little wonky. We had Mac B up there. We had Tronwick up there. I would love to be able to have a conversation about some of these things on the Twitter space during or after I read the document. I think that could be really cool. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting it up as an episode of the Inner Circle podcast. I'm making the YouTube live stream a member-only live stream, so you have to be a member of the YouTube channel to watch the replay. If you catch the live version, it's going to be public, but then it'll go to an on-demand member-only replay, so you can catch it there. And as always, you can find the podcast episode over on the Substack. You will also be able to access the video over on the Substack, and that is for supporters only. So again, that's $8 a month, $80 a year. That gets you access to the Inner Circle podcast, among many other things, and I will be putting that polyamory episode up as well in the next couple of days. And so lots of great stuff going on the Substack. It is Queer Marxism Week. So much stuff happening. We're going to be doing a little bit more queer anarchy stuff today. I do also have one point of personal privilege before we do the queer anarchy stuff. We're doing something just for me, and then we're doing queer anarchy stuff. Now, later tonight, and the queer anarchy stuff is stuff we started a couple weeks ago, and we're just going back to it. Now, later tonight, we will be doing the debate. Jennifer is joining me for the debate. We will be doing the debate. I hope I have enough alcohol in my house. I might have to make a quick trip to the store because we will be doing the debate later, and I hope everyone's ready for it because I'm a little scared. Is anyone else a little scared? Let's see. Average person says, I was going to use this money to buy groceries, but this is more important. Average person, please make sure you're feeding yourself, my friend. We don't want anyone to go hungry. Well, I do appreciate the super chat, though. Thank you so much for the contribution. Thank you. Who's going to have alcohol tonight? No. Guys, we have a retard in our chat. Nope. We have a okay, so let's respond to retard here. And when we say retard, we mean you've never actually listened to the real far left in your life, and you're new here, and it's obvious that you're new here, and you don't know what you don't know, but this is a retarded chat, and we don't allow this shit here. So please put a 1 in the chat if you agree with retard, and whiteness is not code for capitalism. 2 in the chat if you know, because you watch countless socialists say this, that whiteness is code for capitalism. 1 in the chat if you agree with retard. 2 in the chat if you know, because you have watched countless hours of far left training, that whiteness is code for capitalism. Look at all those 2s, bro. Look at all those 2s. We don't make shit up here, bro. We get the language from real socialists, real far leftists. We watch their trainings all the time. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, you're welcome to stay here and learn what you're talking about, but this is not correct. This is a dissident right-wing talking point. This comes from the conservative right and the dissident right. That's where you're getting this. You're not getting this from real leftists. You're getting this from right-wingers, bro. So you are welcome to stay here and learn, but you're being told that everyone in the chat right now thinks you're wrong. Literally everyone in the chat right now thinks you're wrong. They're not just saying that because, they like me. They're saying that because you're wrong. So your choices are to learn or GTFO and go somewhere else. And I don't really care which one you choose. But that's pretty much the end of that. Well, you're wrong. And so if you so here's the line. We all know you're wrong. You're too stupid currently to understand you're wrong. So we're going to say that stop putting bullshit in my chat. I don't want to hear any more of this. And if you don't want to listen and learn, then we're just going to ban you. Because we know you have no receipts to prove you're right. We know that doesn't exist. We've done more research than you can ever dare dream. And so if you, your choices are probably to keep your mouth shut about your opinions that we don't agree with, that aren't backed up with reality. Because we know this isn't backed up with reality. Do you really think you're the first person to ever come into my chat and say, you guys are wrong? Do you really think you're the first person to ever do that? Do you really think we've never had this conversation before? Do you really think that that's never happened? We spend dozens of hours a week listening to this stuff, bro. You don't. So stick around and learn or leave. Because we have video clip after video clip after video clip after video clip after video clip to prove you wrong. And if you keep spouting bullshit in my chat, you're not going to just hear from me. You're going to hear from people in the chat who are going to call you names, who are going to call you dumb, who are going to tell you to get the fuck out, who don't want to listen to what you have to say because they've all watched countless hours of video where the left says this explicitly. Nice try, though. Very nice try. Very nice try. Anyway, we will be watching the debate tonight. I'm probably going to start that stream around 8:30, just to give me time to go to the store and stuff. And we will see. I think the debate starts at 9. So we're gonna see what this epic shit show turns out to be. Let's see. And tomorrow tomorrow's going to be fun. Tomorrow we're going to do at 5 p.m. we're going to watch a video called Notes from the Underground, Zines and the Politics of Alt Culture, which I think is going to be really cool. As you guys know, zines are one of the ways that the far left uses to communicate with each other. It's one of the things they use to recruit. Zines are DIY publications that people can basically make in their house, and then they print out flyers and they give them to people and they put stickers everywhere and stuff like that. But tomorrow night at 9:30, we have a very special zine making workshop because we've decided the stream is up on Rumble, Yasmin. What the fuck are you talking about? The stream is literally up on Rumble. I'm looking at it right now. Stream's up on Rumble. Refresh. we have decided that we are appropriating zines and using them to make unwoke propaganda. So people have asked me, Carlin, okay, you've convinced me that that I need to that I don't understand the left because my conservative influences have lied to me. But what do I do? What do I do? Yasmin, I'm literally looking at it right now. I'm literally looking at it right now. Literally right now, girl. I'm looking at the Rumble stream. Don't tell me there's no Rumble show. I'm literally looking at it right now. So, Jesus Christ. Okay, so what we're doing tomorrow, if you want to come and join us, I keep getting interrupted. Let me put the link in the chat. So what we're doing tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time is, what are you talking about? Okay, I'm not talking about that right now. Can we please focus on what I'm talking about? Because I have no idea when the next one's going to be. I don't know. It's not going to be tonight, I'll tell you that. We're doing the debate tonight. So chill out. It will be when I decide it will be. Like, come on. Now, for the fourth fucking time, we are doing a zine workshop tomorrow night. Zines are something that anyone can create. I know this looks very artistic and fancy and people might find this intimidating, but people have asked for something to do. They've said, what can we do, Carlin? What can we do to fight back? What can we do to fight back? Come and learn how to make propaganda. Come and learn how to use something that the left is using that I want to appropriate from the left in order to reach more people. The more people we have making zines, the more propaganda we have. And so we want to teach people how to make these things, and you can make them in a variety of different ways. You can make them, here's some of like Honest Dog Allison's zines. They look really great. Yeah, Gala's been doing stuff. Bot's been doing stuff. Sin's been doing stuff. We've got a whole Unwoke zine project in our community, and you can use AI art. You can draw. You can do collage. Literally anyone can do this. You don't have to be artistic. You don't have to know how to draw. You just have to, like, you know, be a little bit creative. And I think it's a fun project to get creative and just play with some of this stuff. You can use AI, you can use digital stuff, you can, you know, rip things out of magazines that you have around your house and do collage work and then photocopy that, like whatever you want. But what we're going to do tomorrow is teach you guys how to do this. This is a free workshop. It's going to be at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. I put the link in the chat. You can also find the link on the Substack, and it's totally free to sign up. And the event will be recorded, so if you aren't available at 9 p.m. tomorrow night, the event will be recorded, so you can watch it later. I still recommend signing up because then you'll get an email with the video as soon as the video is processed, and that's going to be a really fun thing, and I'm looking forward to it. So we will be watching the zine video tomorrow at 5 p.m., and this will give us a little bit of the history and the background about why zines are used in this way, and then at 9 p.m., we're going to go and learn how to make them for ourselves, and we're going to appropriate that shit. And we're going to make cool propaganda. And then we go out and we put them on billboards, we put them on college campuses, we put them in bookstores and coffee shops and dispensaries, and we make this information available to people who wouldn't otherwise be exposed to this stuff. And that's one of the ways we're going to do a little subversive initiative, because that's how you have to do it when you're kind of on the back foot, when you're a scrappy underdog group, and we are a scrappy underdog group. That's part of the point of this. And so that is what we're doing. So I hope that everyone will join us tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for the event. And if you missed the Something Controversial show, then come and join us and do this instead. Like, I don't know what to tell you. We can't always do the things that we want to do at any given time. Sometimes we actually have to be productive. And so this is what we're going to be doing tomorrow night at 9 p.m. And I do hope people will join us for that. Now, before we get into Queer Anarchy, can I take a point of personal privilege? Will you guys allow me to take a point of personal privilege? Please mount the like button for me or respond in the chat if you will allow me to take a point of personal privilege. Because right before this, like literally right before I went live, Candace Owens did like a 10-minute rant about Nick Fuentes. And I haven't heard it yet. I literally found out about this like 2 minutes before I was going to go live. I saw people tweeting about it, like Reactive May was tweeting that the Groypers were taking over Candace Owens' chat. and they were demanding that Candace Owens debate Nick Fuentes, and apparently Candace Owens got so pissed off that she went on like a fucking 10-minute rant. And I have to watch it. Do you guys mind if we watch this? Because as some background, Candace Owens very sadly and tragically got demonetized on YouTube yesterday, and she got 3 strikes in a row. And actually, that's kind of unfair. We actually have to acknowledge it. It is kind of unfair that Candace Owens got 3 strikes right in a row on content that's been live on her channel for months. And then she got demonetized by YouTube entirely. So she can't even stream on YouTube now. She's banned from YouTube for a month. She's out of their partner program. She's lost all that cash. And now she's relegated over to Rumble. And essentially, and that's all very sad and tragic. And of course, we support free speech and all that stuff. But Candace should have known this was coming. There's a reason I don't talk about the Jewish stuff on my YouTube channel, okay? I go over to Rumble. The Rumble show is on Rumble. It is not on YouTube for this express reason. We only talk about socialism here. We only talk about leftists. We don't talk about the overlords. You don't piss off the overlords on YouTube. You can do it in other places, not on YouTube. So Nick Fuentes has basically been coming at Candace Owens a little bit lately because Candace Owens started saying some crazy things about, like, it's not the Jews, it's the Frankists. And Nick was like, Candace, what the fuck are you talking about? And so Candace was having Dave Smith on her show because he's a Jew instead of Nick. And Nick was like, oh, that's really convenient, Candace. You're having Dave Smith on, but you're not talking to me, and you're not letting me in your Twitter spaces. And so last night on his show, Nick was like, look at that. Candace Owens never talked to me, never acknowledged me publicly, and yet still she got banned. Huh. Funny how that works. Must have been the Frankists. And so Nick did kind of a rant last night about it on his show, and I think Candace found out about that, and Candace is a little peeved because, by the way, Candace Owens is a narcissist, like a real narcissist. Like, she has narcissistic personality disorder. I am positive of this. I don't throw this accusation out lightly. I am absolutely 100% positive of this. And I gotta say, I think Nick Fuentes needs to know that, listen, I'm in favor of poking the bear as much as the next person. I'm in favor of poking the bear, but Nick has really got to know that Candace is never going to let go of this grudge. And he should be careful. And listen, man, I say that like, so I've had a narcissist like tracking me around the internet and stalking me for 3.5 years. It's not actually fun when you piss off a real narcissist. No. I'm not using it to say she has narcissistic tendencies. I'm saying she has a fucking personality disorder. Only like 6% of the population actually has the personality disorder. Candace Owens has it. I studied this for a long time. I know my shit. I know what I'm talking about. And so I just want to say that Nick should be more careful about poking the bear, because Candace is the real deal. And that's not a reality that I would wish on anyone. But I want to watch this. And of course, I denounce any talk about the Jews. I don't know. I love the Jews. The Jews are a peaceful people, and they were severely wronged. The Holocaust was the worst event in the history of humanity. No less than 6 million people died in the Holocaust. Israel is completely correct in everything they do. Palestine deserves everything they get. Israel is completely correct. We should never question Israel. We should do whatever Israel wants. We should give Israel all the money. And you know, Jews are amazing, and I love their food. I especially love bagels. Bagels are one of my favorite things. And I have, Israel is a peaceful state. We should give Israel all our money. We all love Israel here. Everyone loves Israel. Thoughts and prayers to all of the people in Israel that are just but a peaceful folk that never do anything wrong. All right, let's see what Candace Owens had to say.
I do want to, I have to say, my blood was boiling when I went on X and I saw a clip that was circulating of Nick Fuentes talking about me. And, you know, he's been just on a tear for 2 weeks talking trash about me. I have no idea what has motivated this. I have obviously been dealing with a full onslaught of attacks everywhere from Australia, from the ADL. And in addition, Nick Fuentes has joined in on the chorus. And I genuinely am not sure what's motivating it, but I just want to show you what he said so I can respond to it, because I have such a strong opinion on stuff like this. And I feel.
By the way, I actually think that Nick took it very, very light on Candace. I think that Nick could have been if Nick really wanted to attack Candace Owens, he could have been far more evil than he was. I feel like Nick was doing like playful jabs, where he wasn't doing anything too hard. Like if she's saying Nick Fuentes is just coming after me and it's so awful and he is being such a big meanie. No, he's not, Candace.
The need to say something. So let's take a listen to Nick Fuentes telling his audience that he red-pilled me. Take a listen.
I red-pilled Candace. She's been watching my show for years. Let's just be honest. I've heard enough, and I know she's been watching my show for at least.
Yeah, this is like, Candace, I had to go through this too. And I understand that I don't have as much clout and as many followers as Candace Owens had, but I got fucking hazed. You have to go through, listen, if you're a girl especially, you have to go through a series of tests in order to be associated with Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. In order for them to support you and retweet your stuff and like be friendly with you, you have to accomplish a series of tests that will try your patience to within an inch of your, and you might get mad at them and you might yell at them, and every once in a while I've been like, fuck you guys, and I blocked them for a while. I had to go through 6 goddamn months of hazing. And it was worth it, and I'm glad I made it, and I'm glad I passed some sort of like final exam at AFPAC when everyone was just cool with me, and all of a sudden like people were just started being really nice to me, and that was kind of cool. And it's been cool ever since, and I'm really enjoying it. But I'm just saying, you have to go through tests, and Candace Owens has not yet gone through those tests. And yes, my dog is having feelings because my husband just went to the store. Yep.
4 years, I red-pilled her. I red-pilled a lot of these, you know, and I don't want to take all the credit. Me, among others, red-pilled a lot of people. People like Sneeko, Jake Shields, Myron, Ye, whoever. And I'm not taking all the credit, but I and others, truth tellers, red-pilled people. Candace has a public and a private reason she doesn't want to talk to me or about me. And I said last week, I have evidence that both her public and private reason are bull. And I'm not indiscreet, so I'm not going to go and spill the beans on everything. And I said last week, if she wants to, she can. But that's not true either. And if I'm pushed and my credibility's on the line, well, I'll have to say it. I don't want to, because I'm not an indiscreet person. But, you know, you can't just lie and lie. Well, I can't talk to him because YouTube. Well, that's BS. Well, I can't talk to him because this lawsuit. That's BS. Well, Nick knew there was a lawsuit. You're right, but I know other things too. So, you know, don't play with me. I'll remind you. I'll remind you, girl, about our text. When she texted me during the Ye thing back in 22, she said, oh, I don't keep secrets. I don't believe, you know, I'm going to expose everybody and blah, blah. Well, Orange, you glad I'm not like you then, right? Because I kept that pretty quiet for a couple of years, just like I'm keeping this quiet. But don't play with me.
Yeah.
Can I just say, before we listen to Candace's rant, I kind of love that Nick is like a mob boss a little bit. I love it. It's kind of a turn on a little bit. Not that I would ever like, no, he's way too young, but like, and he needs a young, hot Italian 16-year-old girl or something like that is fully beyond the age of consent and all that stuff. But it is. I love the exercise of power. That's like, when men do that, that's hot. It just is. It could be anyone. It doesn't necessarily need to be him. It's just hot.
So, first and foremost, did not like that because that arrived to me as some sort of a threat, like he's got like information on me or knows stuff behind the scenes. And so let me first and foremost say this. The idea that I have been red-pilled by Nick Fuentes, parking aside just the utter arrogance of that statement. I've been in politics for 8 years. There's not a single person that I would say, they owe me, I red-pilled them, I red-pilled this person. It's a complete nonsense. I never watched a single episode of Nick Fuentes' show until
Bullshit,
after he
Candace.
did, which I have said publicly, the public
Bullshit.
X
She is such
space
a
that was hosted
liar.
by Lauren Chen. And
Come
it was the first
on.
time that I heard his story. And I thought to myself,
Come
wow, what
on.
happened to this when he was a kid was completely wrong. And I never knew what the back.
Candace is like, I am just an innocent little person, and I've never watched Nick Fuentes before, and I just don't know what he's talking about, and I don't know why he would say that he red pilled me, because obviously that did not happen. Yeah, okay, Candace. Okay, yeah, we see you, Candace. You're lying.
Story was, and I was quite interested by it. I have never said anything publicly about him, have not jumped in on everybody saying, you must disavow, you must say this, you must say that. And so to have somebody take my name, to lie and pretend that I've been following you for 4 years, like you're the person who saved me from the left. You have nothing to do with my story. You have nothing to do with my background. And I don't know what purpose it serves to even say this. I have no idea why.
Candace, if this wasn't that big a deal to you and you really had nothing to do with this, then why are you even responding to him? Then why are you even acknowledging him? Because, Candace, listen, I have significantly less followers than you, girl. Significantly less. But even I have people that say crazy shit about me on the internet every day. I have people that put the craziest shit out on the internet about me. I have people stalking me. I have people that run these accounts about me, and they say the crazy. I have someone that I have crazy people, Candace, and they say crazy things, and I know that those things are not hinged into reality at all. And do you know what I do? I don't actually I don't do shows about them because I don't care. Because they're crazy people. There may have been a time when I cared, and there may have been a time where I talked about it more than I should have, but now it's happened so much that I just don't give a fuck anymore. And the thing of it is, Candace, is you are way bigger on the internet than I will ever be. You are way more famous on the internet than I will ever be. And it's kind of like you have millions and millions and millions and millions of followers, and you're telling me that I barely even know who Nick Fuentes is. I never had anything to do with him. I don't even know why we're talking about this. Then why are you talking about it on your show? Then why are you even acknowledging this? If you really didn't care, Candace, like, people who don't care don't talk about it on their shows, that all these people, that tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions of people are going to watch this. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be talking about it.
Why you would say something that is just so resoundingly untrue when it doesn't serve anything. There's nothing here. There's just no reason to do it. But parking all of that aside, to pretend that there is something you know about me, like I said this, I messaged him privately, you have my full and explicit permission to release whatever it is that you think you have on me.
I hope Nick does
like
it.
there is nothing that
does
needs
it.
to be private.
Please.
Don't do that. Don't think that there's going to
Please
be
do
some
it.
sort of a fear campaign, or
Please.
you're trying to, there's a little bit of a threat there. Don't make me have. What are you talking about? You've literally been speaking to yourself on your show, and I've said nothing back to you. You're in a corner fighting yourself, picking fights with people that have done nothing to you. Okay, I don't need to have your perspectives. I'm sorry you don't like that I'm friends with Dave Smith. I'm sorry it doesn't seem possible to you that there could ever be a legitimate friendship between a Christian and a Jew, but there is one. I like Dave Smith. There's no funny backstory there.
Has Dave Smith defended Candace Owens from getting demonetized on YouTube yet? Because as of last night, Dave Smith hadn't said shit about Candace Owens getting demonetized on YouTube. I don't know, guys. I mean, maybe someone can tell me. Maybe I haven't checked Dave Smith's Twitter today, so maybe Dave Smith wrote a whole Twitter thread about how unfair it was that they're wrongly persecuting Candace for just asking questions about the Frankus and all this stuff, and he has her back and he supports her. But I know if I was friends with someone and I got demonetized on YouTube and I was really friends with someone, then they probably defend me. But if that person was just using me, then maybe they wouldn't defend me. If that was just a relationship of convenience, probably that person's just going to start to back away quietly. So does anyone know, has Dave Smith said anything supporting Candace Owens? Can someone just go, I blocked his ass a long time ago, and then when he figured out I blocked him, he blocked me, because I don't think Dave Smith is trustworthy. I think he's a grifter. And so I blocked him like literally years ago. But can someone just go and look at his Twitter account and tell me if he's actually said something?
Either. I had him on my show not because I wanted him as a token, but because my producer was a huge fan of his on my old show and said, hey, have you ever heard of this guy, Dave Smith? And my answer was no, because I know this is going to blow your mind, but your audience is not the same as my audience. You don't make an appeal to suburban moms. I would assume the majority of your audience is male. I also don't even watch Andrew Tate's videos, and I'm friends.
Candace Owens thinks that her audience is suburban moms. Look at the brow. Look at the amount of indignation that Candace Owens has for an issue that she says she doesn't care about. Look at
him. I don't watch his videos because his
no. I want the brow back. Oh fuck.
No, because I know this is going to blow your mind, but your audience is not the same as my audience. You don't make an appeal to suburban moms. I would assume the majority of your audience is male. I also don't even watch Andrew Tate's.
There it is. There it is. Got it. Hang on, I need a screenshot. This is Candace Owens. I don't care about Nick Fuentes. Hang on, I need to tweet that. Hang on. This is Candace Owens. I don't care about Nick Fuentes. Let's see. Mac B says, we should call her Candace the Struggle Owens. Yup. Okay, so Dave Smith said, this is appalling and YouTube should correct this immediately. All right. Maybe they really are friends. Maybe they really are. I mean, that's good to hear. I'm glad that Candace Owens has one defender in Dave Smith. This is Candace Owens. I don't care about Nick Fuentes' face. Hang on, I just need to tweet this. Let's take a sec. Come on. Give me that screenshot, computer. Come on. Oh my god, my computer is so slow. My computer is always so slow when I need it to do something for me. Okay, I just got it. We're not gonna be fucking autistic about this, okay? All right, I just tweeted that. Go retweet.
Videos, and I'm friends with him. I don't watch his videos because his audience is male. It's just a different market of ideas. It's absurd to think that as a mother of 3, I go home and I'm watching all of this male content. And I think that's part of the reason is there's just such a gap here. It's a totally different thing when you've had 3 kids in 3 years and you have a household and the way that your brain works and what you do with your spare time when you have a show that's 5 days a week. And when you're not, when you're in a situation like Nick Fuentes and you really believe that if someone reflects anything that you have said, the idea must have come from you. And again, like I said, I won't make any apologies or excuses or capitulate to this idea that I can't be friends with Dave Smith, who is actually just an awesome guy. He really is. Like I met him because somebody pushed me to have him on my show. And then I had one of the best conversations that I had ever had on my old show. And I thought, I really want to keep learning from this person. Do you think I've never had Jewish friends in the past, that I don't have friends from high school? And in your mind, it's warped to believe that the only way they can be friends is if they're using each other as tokens. And your idea here is that unless people agree with you, they're a fraud. And also, unless somebody has the same perspective as you, and also unless they speak to you, I mean, could you just explain this to me very slowly? What is the perspective here? Unless you fully agree with me, you're a fraud. And also, if you say any ideas that I say, they obviously must have come from me. So when I arrived at the conclusion...
So this is kind of like the classic narcissist trick of like when narcissists are really pissed off about something, they just start making shit up to put themselves in the best possible light and to put whoever they're going after in the worst possible light. And they're like, what are we even doing here? Are you saying that I have to agree with you on everything? And I just don't think that's fair. And blah, 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 blah. No, Candace, that's not what he's saying. That's not his argument at all.
That Me Too was fraudulent from day one and that BLM was fraudulent from day one. If I go on and I see that also the Tate brothers say that Me Too is fraudulent, then clearly they must have gotten it from me. They must have been watching my show for years. I created the Tate brothers. They got that from me. I created all these people.
That wasn't his argument.
I once heard Dan Bilzerian say something. He got that from me.
That wasn't his argument.
This is just not a game that I'm going to play.
That wasn't. Candace is completely obfuscating the fact that she literally communicated privately with Nick. This wasn't just that she started saying things about the chosen people. She was communicating privately with him.
So I'm totally, completely fine. As I said, and I will say it publicly, you can put whatever you want to put up about me. I conduct myself in private as I conduct myself publicly. I give everyone a chance to be kind. I don't take a perspective about people from others, but this was complete crap. And you heavily implied that you had some dirt on me, and you have my full permission to release whatever dirt you think that it is, because there isn't any. There absolutely is not any. All right, guys, just going to remind you about Tax Network USA.
All right, I guess that's the end of the rant. And I am told that the Groypers were in the chat demanding that Candace debate Nick. Was there any more? Did she say anything more?
If you're someone that does owe back,
we're not going
are
to
on a fixed income, they are down, and people saying debate him.
Oh,
and,
yeah, okay, so
Nick,
they're in the chat. They're in the chat. Hang on. The Groypers are in the chat.
For a private free consultation, or
the
you can
Groypers
visit
are in the chat.
tnusa.com/Candace. That's tnusa.com/Candace.
Yeah, Candace Owens. I'm fine.
Now we can get into some of your comments. Obviously, a lot of people are inundating right now with back and forth about Nick and asking about whether or not he and I are going to sit down, and people saying debate him. And that's another thing that I will add. In a correspondence that I had with Nick, he could have just reached out to me and said, hey, I'd like to do something on your show. There's something about this that is just so remarkably childish, and I'm not going to touch on it again. I just wanted to touch on it today because I felt that there was a very heavy implication, like he had some sort of a threat or a blackmail on me, and I'm just not into it. And to people who follow him, I don't have an issue with that. He can be your king, and you can support him until you want to. That's not something that
Nick
I would ever
the tweet!
discourage people from doing. But
Nick liked the Candace Owens tweet. I don't mean to like docs or anything, but Nick Fuentes just liked that tweet. W me. Yeah, because Nick does have a sense of humor at the end of the day.
I am going to defend myself when I feel like I'm being thrown into a situation that really has just been Nick fighting himself for the last 3 weeks. And regarding I don't know, I guess I can't read comments on the YouTube page. If this person is saying boo to, I can't know because it's going way too fast here. I'm just going to go here because they're pulling comments live.
Oh, I'm not shadow banned anymore? Also
here we go.
WME.
I'm going to read you guys
Excellent.
who are... I don't know if you call them super chats on Rumble. Forgive me. This person says, truth is a luxury.
Okay, we're not going to watch this. Okay, so Candace had a little ranty rant. And you can see who liked your tweets. Anyone can see who... It was my tweet. Of course I can see who likes it. Okay, that's enough tomfoolery. That's enough shenanigans. We're going to be watching Nick later, probably for debate night. So, because we'll watch his reaction to the debate, and then I get to watch two things at once. I get to watch the debate, and I get to learn what Nick thinks about the debate. So we're probably going to be watching him later, but that was a fun little interlude. And now we got to get back to business. Because I said we're going to do Queer Anarchy today, and we are going to do Queer Anarchy today. I know that people, I know that we probably just had Groypers here who are all excited I was talking about Nick and Candace Owens, but we're actually going to be doing real stuff now. Naruto says, I talked with Jennifer last night. Bot is in control of movie night this weekend for her birthday, so the James Earl Jones Memorial movie will be next weekend. Thank you, Naruto, for taking that, for talking to Jennifer about that. So, and happy birthday. Well, I know Bot's birthday already happened, but Bot, what are we watching for your birthday for movie night? Let us know. And apparently we'll do some sort of James Earl Jones movie next week. That'll be great. All right. So we had started watching... Yeah, we're getting queer now. We're getting queer. Oh, we're watching The Manchurian Candidate. Are we watching the remake, or are we watching, which one are we watching? I haven't seen The Manchurian Candidate in a while. Okay, so we started this queer Marxism thing where it's about queer meeting anarchism. This is basically an ebook or something, or like some sort of like publication that's being read to us. We had started it a while ago, and we basically started it with queer meets anarchism. I do want to just go into the next one instead of finishing this one. So this is called Gay Marriage and Queer Love. And if this is your first time interacting with queer Marxism, this is the most dystopian shit in the world. This is what's pushing gender ideology. This is where attacks on parental rights comes from. This is where non-binary comes from. This is where basically every crazy thing, every crazy social dystopian thing that you can possibly imagine comes from. So stick around, learn a thing or two, and let's get into gay marriage and queer love.
Gay Marriage and Queer Love by Ryan Conrad, from the book Queering Anarchism by C.B. Daring, J. Rogue, Derek Shannon, and Abby Volcano. This text from theanarchistlibrary.org. Quote, "Love, the strongest and deepest element in all life, the harbinger of hope, of joy, of ecstasy. Love, the defier of all laws, of all conventions. Love, the freest, the most powerful molder of human destiny. How can such an all-compelling force be synonymous with that poor little state and church-begotten weed, marriage?" End quote from Emma Goldman's Marriage and Love, 1911.
Oh, they quoted that earlier.
Mainstream gay and lesbian rights organizations in the United States have mobilized gay marriage and...
I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. We'll go back to where we actually were. But so I want to make this clear for people, because I actually got asked last night about this, and I was thinking about doing a video on it. I want to make this clear. So people think that gay marriage was the slippery slope into all the crazy shit that we're experiencing in the world. That's not exactly true from the leftist perspective. In fact, when we read that queer anarchist piece on polyamory earlier today in that Twitter space I did, they explicitly said that they don't want to be associated with like gay marriage. They do not want gay people entering into a monogamous institution where they are only in a relationship with each other based on gender. Gay marriage is based on gender just as much as heterosexual marriage is based on gender in the minds of the left. They don't want these things to exist because they believe they uphold normativity. Normativity is another code word for capitalism. Heteronormativity is when straight people are holding up capitalist values. Homonormativity is when gay people are upholding capitalist values. We also saw this the other day in the Mary Nardini gangs towards the queerest insurrection, which you can find the reading of on my Substack right now. I just uploaded it earlier today if you missed it. And basically they say, like, we don't want people in gay marriage. Gay marriage is not what we're talking about. So people can think all they want that gay marriage was like the slippery slope, but that's not true in the minds of the people who are implementing the crazy shit. In fact, they see gay marriage as counterproductive to what they want, because they didn't want gay people entering into monogamous two-person relationships based on gender, because they want to abolish the gender binary. They don't want, like the nuclear family. You might not like gay people getting married, but gay people in a monogamous relationship that are going to work and just have a house and just want to do things together and just they aren't really bothering anyone, and maybe they have kids or they adopt kids or like whatever, like that is still a nuclear family unit. Okay, that's still upholding the norms of society. And so it's not correct necessarily to say that gay marriage caused all this stuff or was a slippery slope towards this stuff, because the actual people implementing this stuff are telling you, no, that's not true. We don't want gay people to adhere or assimilate to quote unquote straight ideals. Exactly. As you said the other day, for queer anarchists, gay marriage was a counter-revolutionary development, a false revolution that integrates homosexuals into the capital structure. You just said that beautifully, rationalist. The left considers a monogamous gay marriage as a traditional marriage to them. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's a monogamous marriage based on gender. Remember, the goal of queer Marxism is to abolish the gender binary. The gender binary is men and women. If you are a man and you are gay and you are in love with another man, that is upholding the gender binary. You're saying, I want to be with a man. I don't want to be with a woman. I want to be with a man. You're saying there's a difference between the two genders. If you are a woman that's in love with another woman, you're saying there's a difference between the two genders, and I only want to be with women, and I want to be married based on the gender of the person. And so it's upholding the gender binary, which is fundamentally upholding capitalist values.
Of an individual's right to love whomever they choose, alongside more analytic rhetoric that demands full and equal access to a myriad of benefits and privileges administered by the state. By pulling on our heartstrings and appealing to the simple logic of equality, many have been duped into entering the short-sighted gay marriage debate when energy would be better focused elsewhere. In 1911, Emma Goldman ripped marriage to shreds in her essay, Marriage and Love, by fiercely critiquing marriage's reinforcement of prescribed gender roles, patriarchy, and the nuclear family. She also wrote critically and extensively on the mobilization of a notion of love to justify the coercive state and church violence we call marriage. Here, I will queerly continue where she left off, 100 years later. In 2009, I was helplessly kicking and screaming while the national campaigns for gay marriage descended on my mostly poor, mostly rural home state of Maine. Now, in the aftermath of the nauseatingly class elitist failed campaign, gay and lesbian organizations, and the professional activists that prop them up, remain resiliently resistant to critically questioning what we, as queer and trans subjects, are seeking to be equal to in the first place. Do we really want full inclusion in the institution of marriage, a social contract that explicitly limits the ways in which we can organize our erotic and emotional lives?
They're flat out saying they don't want to be included in marriage. I hope people are hearing this. Do we really want to be included in an institution that limits the ways we can organize our erotic and emotional lives? Listen to that again. They are explicitly telling you that they don't want to be included in the institution of marriage.
As queer and trans subjects, are seeking to be equal to in the first place. Do we really want full inclusion in the institution of marriage, a social contract that explicitly limits the ways in which we can organize our erotic and emotional lives? Furthermore, do we really want to reinforce a social institution where our immediate needs and access to collective benefits are contingent on this singular articulation partnership? Or have many of us allowed ourselves to be convinced by some vague notion of equality, with all its empty promises, that gay marriage is a battle worth fighting for? Mainstream gay and lesbian organizations position their campaign strategy and engrossing rhetoric around two competing discourses roughly examined here. By dissecting these competing discourses, one can see that marriage has little to do with love, and that the mainstream gay and lesbian organizations' investments in winning the gay marriage battle further erode any possibility for a radically equitable queer future. A future that was once dared.
They actually see the battle for gay marriage to be counterproductive to achieve equity. They're like, you guys are wasting all your time. And I don't know exactly when this was written. Can someone look up for me what year was queer anarchism written? Because it may have been written before gay marriage was actually legalized. A lot of this stuff was actually written before gay marriage was legalized. And so if they're saying, why the fuck are you guys putting all your energy into this? We don't even want gay marriage to be legalized. Like, this is counterproductive to our means.
Discourses, one can see that marriage has little to do with love, and that the mainstream gay and lesbian organizations' investments in winning the gay marriage battle further erode any possibility for a radically equitable queer future. A future that was once dared to be imagined.
Winning the gay marriage battle radically erode the possibility of a queer future. Bot says she thinks this was written in 2013. That makes sense, actually. That a lot of this stuff came around about that time. Says 2012. Yeah, so this was written in the same in the same year as that thing we read earlier about polyamory, and it's saying exactly. So you can tell that these people talk to each other. You can tell that these people communicated. They shared the same ideas. So this was written before gay marriage was legalized. Thank you. And it's available in the Anarchist Library if people would like to check that out.
By radical queer and trans folks organizing with ACT UP, Queer to the Left, and the George Jackson Brigade, and is still imagined today by radical grassroots organizations like Queers for Economic Justice, La Guy Queer Insurrection, and Gay Shame, to name a few. The first of these discourses is the highly effective and emotionally charged rhetoric of the individual's right to love whomever one chooses. The messaging of the gay marriage campaigns invoked here actively reinscribes the institution of marriage as one that is defined by and organized around a notion of love, with protest signs displaying slogans like, "Who else is fighting for love?" or "It's my right to love whomever I want." One is to believe that love is primarily what is at stake in the gay marriage debate. But as many historians have shown, marriage has never been centrally organized around love, but the buying and selling of women as property through a patriarchal dowry system that evolved into the soft coercion of domestic indentured servitude.
This is why they consider this is why they consider marriage to be property, because they're saying women used to be sold into marriage, therefore marriage made women literally property of their husbands, where we heard that before. And so that's the reason they don't want to engage with marriage, is because they're like, when you're married to someone, you're literally their property. And remember, they want to abolish all private property. Like Marxism is about abolishing private property. They extend private property to different forms of social relationships, like parental rights are considered to be a form of private property. Marriage is considered to be a form of private property. Marriage is based on capitalism. Marriage creates generational wealth because it produces like the spawn, the children, and that creates lines of generational wealth. Socialists don't like the idea of generational wealth, etc., etc. No, this is not the same thing. This was a different document.
That Goldman so aptly dismantled in her writing. Although many of the more explicitly violent machinations of marriage have abated in the United States, the structural and individual violence continues. Nearly half of all first marriages end in divorce. If marriage were the loving, providing social safety net that those invoking family values rhetoric claim it is, then one is left wondering why the divorce rate is so remarkably high. Perhaps it is that nearly 7.8 million women have been raped by an intimate partner at some point in their lives, or that domestic violence is a leading cause of injury to women between the ages of 15 and 44 in the United States. Or maybe it is that 68% of sexually abused children are victims of their own family members. Empiricism aside, the so-called healthy and privatized familial structures through which the institution of marriage seeks to minimize violence cannot be emulated if we, as a radical queer and trans community, are to confront the violence within our own community and families, chosen or otherwise. In addition to the effective discourse outlined above, a more analytic approach is being deployed in tandem. This rhetoric relies on a certain brand of rugged American individualism that has spawned gay and lesbian organizations.
Rugged individualism. Communists hate rugged individualism. And it's funny that they specifically use the term rugged individualism. Where have we heard the term rugged individualism before? Does anyone know? Where have we heard the term rugged individualism before? Let's see. Hang on. I'm looking for something very specific. Where have we heard the... Oh, ding, ding. Average person. Average person got it. Average person got it. Does everyone remember the display in the Smithsonian? And I'll make this... Actually, that's pretty big enough. Does everyone remember this display in the Smithsonian? What is the very first characteristic of a white supremacy culture? Rugged individualism. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that the display in the Smithsonian that caused all that ruckus in 2020 is using quite literally exactly, hang on, let's just get that. Rugged American individualism. Isn't that seems just like an oddly specific term, doesn't it? An oddly specific term. Let's listen to that again.
cannot be emulated if we, as a radical queer and trans community, are to confront the violence within our own community and families, chosen or otherwise. In addition to the effective discourse outlined above, a more analytic approach is being deployed in tandem. This rhetoric relies on a certain brand of rugged American individualism that has spawned gay and lesbian organizations that invoke a rights-based discourse in their attempt at achieving what they contend is full equality. It is here we find numerous LGB and sometimes T activists in a rage over the 1,138 rights that federally recognized marriage will bring them, but are denied. These state benefits and privileges, as outlined in the Defense of Marriage Act, are over.
As a reminder, the left considers individual liberties to be a form of private property under capitalism. We have them saying this. There's a presentation from Red May, which is our favorite radical revolutionary socialist group out of Seattle. They do these presentations all year long just about all this crazy stuff, and it's called The Propertied Regime. And I think this was put on their channel in either October and November of 2023. We watched it on the channel the same day that Wurzelroot tried to crash my socialism Saturday. And in that presentation, I got to go back and get a clip of this. In that presentation, they talked about how individual liberties are a form of private property because individual liberties uphold individualism. In a collectivist society, which is what the far left is, they don't believe that you should have individual liberties. And so when they're talking about equality, and they're talking about how this is all just rugged individualism, like this is all these silly gay people screaming about equality. They're basically saying you're demanding private property. You're like, and we don't want private property. Like, you're demanding to be assimilated into this culture based on rugged individual values. We don't want that. They're shitting on them. Let's listen to this again. They're like saying all these people who want gay marriage, they're like in a full-on rage over this idea of equality, which is something that they believe is going to create inequity. Equality creates inequity. Isn't that funny?
And sometimes T activists in a rage over the 1,138 rights that federally recognized marriage will bring them, but are denied. These state benefits and privileges, as outlined in the Defense of Marriage Act, are overwhelmingly about the transfer of money and property, including children, as the only way marriage allows us to think about them is like property. The almost exclusive emphasis on property rights highlights.
What was that? What was that? What was that? Children are property? Excuse me? What was that? What was that? It's almost like parental rights are a form of private property. Again?
Property, including children, as the only way marriage allows us to think about them is like property. The almost exclusive emphasis on
marriage as an institution forces us to think about children as property. Got it.
Property rights highlights that marriage has little to do with love, but with benefits and privileges as doled out by the state to those who adhere to a specific set of moral values determined by the church. Gay marriage organizations are mobilizing this rights-based discourse focused on equal access to state benefits and privileges in tandem with highly effective love rhetoric to win over public opinion.
So I'm actually getting pissed off as we're listening to this. And the reason I'm getting pissed off, it might not be what you think. This is yet another instance in which conservative influencers lied to their audiences. This was in 2012. This was over 10 years ago. Does anyone remember the discourse that was happening around the legalization of gay marriage? I do. I remember how conservatives were swearing up and down that this was going to be the downfall of society. This was going to give the left everything they want. This was going to be the slippery slope into all the crazy things. Well, guess what happened? The real crazy people, literally at the time, were saying, we don't want gay marriage. We don't want it. We don't want to be included in this institution. We don't want this. Stop fighting for this. Stop it. Stop putting resources into this. We don't want this. Was that ever reported on anywhere? Was that ever discussed anywhere by the right? And again, this is the same argument. This is exactly the same argument that the left is using to attack parental rights today. They just said it. Children are property within the institution of marriage. They literally just said it. This is where attacks on parental rights are coming from. This is where gender ideology comes from. It's almost like by ignoring the fucking real problem, and this was always the real problem. It was always the real far left, not the fucking Democratic Party. The real far left, they were always the problem. And by ignoring that problem, conservatives walked right into gender ideology in schools, queering kids, cutting off kids' body parts, transing fucking kids, attacks on parental rights. Every major problem that exists today could maybe have been avoided had conservatives just removed their heads from their asses and actually listened to what the real left was saying, because all of this was done publicly. The internet existed in 2012. All of this was out there. Anyone could have found it. Anyone could have tracked these groups. So why is this literally the first time we're hearing about it? Why hasn't anyone else covered this? Why didn't James Lindsay ever talk about this? Oh, because he has no idea this stuff even exists. Why are we the only people on the internet talking about this? Maybe every problem today could have been avoided. And people wonder why I scream about all the conservative influencers that are lying to people. People wonder why I will not stop complaining about every single fucking paid fucking shill that is out there lying to people. Because the lying has been going on forever. And the reason we are in the position that we are in is because conservatives have always been completely and totally unhinged from what the left is actually doing and what the left is actually saying and what the real plans are. And now we're going back to 2012 and listening to what the left was saying. And oh my God, had conservatives just fucking paid attention, maybe a lot of problems that we're dealing with today could have been avoided. Everyone gets this, right? This is not just me being bitchy on the internet. And not to say I don't enjoy that, but this is an actual problem. And if people want to continue to put their heads in the sand and claim that they're telling us the truth, we swear. Dan Bongino is telling us the truth. Mark Levin is telling us the truth. Glenn Beck is telling us the truth. Wasn't Glenn Beck like really active in some sort of Tea Party movement when all this was happening? Where the fuck was he? Where the fuck was he? I am getting, like, the more, like, I've had so many people coming into my feed lately, like, tagging Glenn Beck to be like, Glenn, you should really talk to Carlin. You should really talk to Carlin. And I respond to them every single time. I'm like, do you really think Glenn Beck's producers didn't have access to this information? Because I made sure Glenn Beck's producers had access to this information, and they ignored it. They ignored it. I've been thinking in my head lately about, like, writing an open letter to Glenn Beck being like, bro, I believed in you. I believed in you. And I legitimately think that Glenn Beck is a hero for what he did in Afghanistan, putting up his own money to get people out of Afghanistan when the Taliban, like, took back over and the whole thing fell. I legitimately thought he was a hero. I really did. I thought I was very inspired by that. And just to know that he never was hinged into reality. He never cared. He was never reporting the truth. It was just like, this is part of the reason why they lose. And if you cannot call these people out, Glenn Beck has more money than fucking God. Glenn Beck doesn't need any more money. Why isn't Glenn Beck telling people about this? Why wasn't he telling people about it back then? Why isn't he telling people about it now? He literally has nothing to fucking lose. The guy has more money than God. So what's stopping him? Do you know what he was doing on his show the other day? Begging for citizenship to Israel. I was like, bro. He was in tears talking about how he had sent a letter to Israel just asking for citizenship. And, you know, I have nothing to offer you, Israel, but my love and undying devotion. I was like, bro. I think it's deliberate. Conservative influencers are mostly funded by the Democratic Party. Who needs to make out the Democrats seem like the real radicals to win elections? Yeah. And this is the problem. These are the real radicals. These are the real insane people that are pushing all the crazy ideas. But because we need to make the Democrats the big, bad, fucking monster, we're going to lie to people and say, they're literally socialist, guys. This is literally communism. Kamala Harris is literally a communist. No, she's not. No. Conservatives refuse to sacrifice their comfort to the hard work needed to preserve their own freedom. Yup. And their kids are going to suffer for it, and it's going to be their own goddamn fault. Anyway.
Appealing to socialized emotional responses while simultaneously making a more strategic, analytic argument for gay marriage. This two-pronged approach has successfully dragged many LGBT activists into its blinding double discourse by effectively motivating the engagement of many queer and trans folks who will be better off putting their energy elsewhere. What if we, as a queer and trans social justice movement, focus on achieving access to many of marriage's forbidden fruits, i.e. healthcare, freedom of movement across nation-state borders, etc., for all people, not just citizen couples, gay, straight, or otherwise? Fortunately, this double discourse will fail.
So what they just said is, the only reason you guys want to get married is you're going to get access to healthcare benefits and you're going to be able to travel together and things like that. Guess what? We can do those things by instituting socialism. If we do socialism, you don't need to get married to have access to healthcare. You don't need to get married to have access to travel, because we're just going to eliminate all borders. Like, if we just do socialism, your problem's going to be solved.
Miserably in the long term, because it is impossible to claim marriage as an institution based on love, when the only way to do so is to mimic the hyper-conservative family values rhetoric of the Christian right. The normalizing function of this claim, that loving families can only exist within the narrow confines of an immediate nuclear family structure, gay or straight, will continue to mark some families as worthy of survival and others as a deadly threat. As noted by the gay historian John D'Amelio in his piece, The Marriage Fight is Setting Us Back, greater acceptance of gay and lesbian people has largely come from straight people abandoning fantasy familial conservatism, opting for queerer, more non-traditional ways of organizing both their erotic lives and their families. The smiling white families posed in picturesque suburban backyards that appeared on pro-gay marriage campaign materials in Maine look no different than the anti-gay marriage propaganda of smiling white families in picturesque suburban backyards. Not only do the visual narratives mimic one another, say the difference in gendered couples among neo-nuclear gay families, but the accompanying family values rhetoric was nearly identical. The fervent reinvestment in the nuclear family, gay or straight, as a site of financial security, moral aptitude, and physical safety for the children should be horrifying to us all. This kind of logic around familial safety has been challenged by 3 decades of feminist critique that problematizes the nuclear family as the primary site of sexual violence against children and cannot be erased or obscured through this rhetorical appeal. This neoliberal fantasy of the nuclear family as the only provider of emotional and economic safety is being recovered and deployed by the contemporary gay.
Yep, they just called out homonormativity. People are catching that. Should we go back and listen again? I kind of want to listen to that again. Sorry if people don't like listening to things again, but I do.
Lives and their families. The smiling white families posed in picturesque suburban backyards that appeared on pro-gay marriage campaign materials in Maine look no different than the anti-gay marriage propaganda of smiling white families in picturesque suburban backyards. Not only do the visual narratives mimic one another, say the difference in gendered couples among neo-nuclear gay families, but the accompanying family values rhetoric was nearly identical. The fervent reinvestment in the nuclear family, gay or straight, as a site of financial security, moral aptitude, and physical safety for the children should be horrifying to us all.
So that's what they're saying. They're saying that it doesn't really matter if you're gay or straight. The only reason that you're entering into these nuclear families is for financial security, and that's about private property, and that's about capitalism. Capitalism is literally forcing you into these restricted confines of marriage based on the state, and it doesn't matter if you're doing it, if you're gay, it doesn't matter. You're like, gay people are doing it for exactly the same reason straight people are, and so this is not about gay or straight, this is about capitalism.
The difference in gendered couples among neo-nuclear gay families, but the accompanying family values rhetoric was nearly identical. The fervent reinvestment in the nuclear family, gay or straight, as a site of financial security, moral aptitude, and physical safety for the children should be horrifying to us all.
They're literally saying the idea of gay marriage is horrifying. Again, this was 2012. This was before gay marriage was legalized. And the far left is saying, this is a horrifying concept. You are asking us to assimilate to capitalist ideals within the marriage confines.
This kind of logic around familial safety has been challenged by 3 decades of feminist critique that problematizes the nuclear family as the primary site of sexual violence against children and cannot be erased or obscured through this rhetorical.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. The queer Marxists are calling out. They're saying, you guys know, right? The nuclear family is the primary site of sexual violence. We think sexual violence is bad. Don't you think sexual violence against children is bad? Because we think sexual violence against children is bad. And do you know where sexual violence against children is happening? The nuclear family. For all the people who don't believe me when I say that queer is not about sexualizing kids, I want you to listen to real queer Marxists saying sexualizing kids is bad, sexual violence against kids is bad. We really shouldn't be doing that shit. That shit seems to happen in the nuclear family an awful lot. Maybe we should think about that. I'm not saying I agree with them. What I am saying is that this line that queer is about sexualizing kids fundamentally ignores all the times that you hear people like this say, we really shouldn't be sexualizing kids. Because if they cared about sexualizing kids, this wouldn't even be in here. What are they talking about? This is about abolishing capitalism. That's all this is. That's all it ever is. It was never about sexualizing kids. That was a lie that was sold to get people outraged so that they donated money. Because there is nothing that's going to outrage people more than sexualizing kids. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be worried about that. I'm not saying that that is something that people should ignore. What I am saying is you were lied to. They lied to you. You were lied to by people who wanted your money. What's disturbing about this is they essentially say, hang on. What's disturbing about this is that they essentially want gay people to remain ostracized and marginalized so that they can continue to act as users. Well, it's not even just that. They want everyone to be opposite of normative. It's not just gay people. Anyone can be queer. They want everyone to go against the norm. So it's just like we're talking about gay marriage because that's the subject of this, but it's not just gay people. They want everyone to push against the norm. Conservatives were sold down the river for the Gnostic sex cults. God damn. Let's listen to them talking about protecting children again.
Investment in the nuclear family, gay or straight, as a site of financial security, moral aptitude, and physical safety for the children should be horrifying to us all. This kind of logic around familial safety has been challenged by 3 decades of feminist critique that problematizes the nuclear family as the primary site of sexual violence against children and cannot be erased or obscured through this rhetorical appeal. This neoliberal fantasy of the nuclear family as the only provider of emotional and economic safety is being recovered and deployed by the contemporary gay rights movement. In a bizarre twist in history, gays and lesbians are turning their backs on the kinds of radical new configurations of.
Here's our retard friend. You know, you listen. I'm calling you a retard, but you stuck around. So I have to give you credit. We have to give credit where credit is due. We called him a retard. We insulted him many times over. He stuck around. I actually do like it when people I insult stay around because hopefully you learn something. So I'm going to treat this question fairly. I'm going to refrain from calling names for a second. It was a knee-jerk reaction. I apologize. Are you sure he's not mentioning sexual violence against minors merely as an attack on the family? Yes. Yes, I am. Do you want to know why? Because they've already laid out that they consider it to be the family like an element of private property. It was all over at that point. It was all over. It was all over for the left the moment that they defined family around private property. Not because queer people are fundamentally opposed to sexuality for all. No, they're not. Bro, if you believe that queer people are talking about having sex with kids all the time, show the fucking evidence. Because we listen to an awful lot of this stuff, and I don't hear it. What I have heard them say is, we believe that children shouldn't be sexualized. I've heard them say this over and over and over again. I have also heard them say, if children are sexualized, we should be protecting them to make sure they don't incur further harm. This was never about sexualizing kids. That is a lie. That is a dissident right-wing and conservative influencer lie. If you want to provide us with receipts, we'll look at it, but until then.
Family that have liberated straight people. Neoliberalism, which I broadly define here as a concentrated privatization of every facet of our daily lives, depends upon this effective discourse, which asserts that the immediate family constitutes an unproblematized site of safety and security, while the rest of the world is rendered a dangerous outside. By insisting that the gay and lesbian nuclear family, a retrograde heteromimic.
Hang on. No worries, Aaron. Sorry if this has been addressed. I'm new, but have you seen the Queer Theory Jeopardy video? Who made it? Who made the Queer Theory Jeopardy video? Was it an actual queer theorist, or was it a conservative pretending to know about queer theory is my question. So no, I haven't seen it, and just like the idea that something like this exists, I have questions, and I have questions regarding who made it and what their motive is for making it. Because if someone like James Lindsay made a Queer Theory Jeopardy video, I have no faith that that video is based in reality at all. If Logan Lansing made a Queer Theory Jeopardy video, I have no hope that that is based in reality at all. If any major conservative influencer made a Queer Theory Jeopardy video, I have no hope that that's based in reality at all. So who made it?
Throwback to the 1950s, needs protection. Gay
Who's
marriage
that?
activist.
Who's that? All right, thank you. Who is that? Misa, you seem to know. Who is that? Is he talking about the sketch history of queer theory? Who is this? Oh, yeah, again, this is one of those things. I know exactly what clip you're focusing on. This is one of those things. Yeah, that's not real. I'm sorry. That's not real based on, that's an anomaly. And the thing of it is there are these anomalies that pop up. They're like, Robin DiAngelo is an anomaly. Robin DiAngelo is not like the vast majority of DEI trainers. She's not like the vast majority of leftists. Robin DiAngelo is an anomaly in that she runs around saying all white people are racist, all white people are racist. That makes for great clickbait content. Makes for great clickbait content. But when you actually look at the... Oh, it's posted. See, this is all I need to know. Moms for Liberty are fucking liars. That's all I needed to know right there. But let me explain this, like, to be, because I do understand. I understand why people see these things and they think that's representative of everything. Now, I have spent the last almost 4 years, almost every day of my life, watching as much DEI training as I could get my hands on, watching as much whiteness training as I could get my hands on, watching socialist training, watching stuff about abortion, watching stuff about gender ideology, watching like everything. And I'll watch any single group, and I really try to vary the sources I'm doing. I watch a wide variety of content from a lot of different people on the left, so I'm not just looking at one specific group. I'm looking at, I'm trying as much as I can to look at the totality. You look at people like Robin DiAngelo. Robin DiAngelo says crazy, outlandish shit. And I used to cover Robin DiAngelo on my channel. That makes for great clickbait content. People love it. There are no other people that I've seen talking like Robin DiAngelo. So great clickbait content, but it's just not reflected in the totality of the stuff that I've watched. It's just not. And so people can say, well, she's still a leftist and she's still saying it. Well, sure, but they're going to be crazy people in any group. Now, Human Centipede is telling me this guy is an environmental anarchist. So that tells me that he's not actually these people. And so what I would say is you can always find kind of clips that are going to be anomalies of situations. I won't deny there's stuff about minor attracted people that I've seen out there that makes me very uncomfortable. I've seen those clips. I've covered those clips. I've literally written about the fact that I think that at some point the left is going to try to make minor attracted person a protected category under the Civil Rights Act. I do absolutely believe that that's probably going to happen at some point. But these things are anomalies in the bigger picture. And usually the people that are pushing them are kind of like, they're not even integrated with leftist activists. Leftist activists are doing a completely different thing that is much more dangerous. And then you have these kind of crazy people pop up and they're not even associated with the real leftist activists. They're not associated with the organizations, but they're saying really crazy shit that makes for great clickbait content. So I'm not saying that I don't understand why people have this perception. And I really probably should be a little bit more lenient on people who come with the perception based on this clickbait outrage bullshit. Rationalist says the queer equals pedophilia narrative appeals to Christian boomers a lot more than queer equals communism narrative. So much more. Let me tell you what. Much more salacious and confirms the Christian talking points. Yeah, I agree with that. And so I'm not trying to be hard on the people who come here and you guys think that this is about sexualizing kids, because I do believe that that concern is a genuine concern. It's not like you're not just like it comes from a genuine place, and you've been told this by people and you've been selectively shown content that seems to back that up. What I am trying to say is that I have watched more queer Marxism content and queer theory content than anyone else on the internet. The actual stuff, the stuff from the activists, the stuff from the organizations that are pushing it, the dry stuff that doesn't always make for great clickbait content. And when I look at the totality of the content, I just don't see it. It's not there. If it was there, listen, if it was there, I would be screaming it from the fucking rooftops. I would be making that clickbait content. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why don't I have more clickbait content? Do you know how much more money I would make? Do you know how much more famous I would be? Do you know how much more reported on my work would be if I was able to find this clickbait content? Do you guys have any idea? But I have to behave in an ethically honest way to say, I've watched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of this shit. And I've heard them say they want to protect kids from sexualization a lot more than I've heard them talking about sexualizing kids. Now, there are age of consent questions, but this is more of an anarchist thing. This exists on far left anarchists. This also exists on far right anarchists. I've been in libertarian communities. I've been around the age of consent question. The age of consent question is, should the age of consent even exist from a anarchist perspective? But you have to remember, anarchists don't believe the government should exist. So do anarchists believe that there should be laws around age of consent? No. But it's not because they want to sexualize kids. It's because they literally don't believe the government should exist. And so if the government shouldn't exist for anything, it shouldn't exist for that too. So oftentimes these questions are really more about, how do we put community enforcement mechanisms in place that are outside of the government, that are not legal. So it really isn't. I've heard, like, I'll use Sophie Lewis as an example. I have this on tape. I have this recorded somewhere. I didn't post it because I didn't want people, I was trying to be protective of Sophie. Sophie is my favorite abolish the family socialist. I don't want Sophie to be angry at me. And I was afraid that if I posted this, people were going to clip Sophie out of context to make her look like a pedophile when in fact she was doing the opposite of being a pedophile. I recorded Sophie Lewis when I was at the socialism conference undercover, and she said she had this whole thing about how age of consent shouldn't exist because children are autonomous beings too, and they should be able to be involved in their own decisions and stuff like that. And if I had just taken that clip out of context and twisted it, I could have made Sophie seem like a pedophile. But Sophie followed that up, like literally right after it, by saying, but we need to protect kids from sexualization and we shouldn't want kids to be sexualized. Like almost those words explicitly. And so I was like, I can't throw Sophie under the bus like this. I just can't. But I do actually have it recorded. And that's generally the line that I've heard. And we just heard it here too. So I guess I understand why people think this. I really, really do. And it's hard to get over the outrage of it, and I understand that. And there's crazy things that exist on the internet, and I understand that. But this is why we really try to come at this from a more detached perspective. I know I'm getting really long-winded, but I feel like this deserves a little bit of nuance, you know? Rottweiler said, again, MAPS are an opportunistic group who want a place in the queer table. We see queer theorists regularly who denounce MAPS because it isn't the end. Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's like this crazy group called MAPS do exist. They are a real thing. However, what queer Marxists and queer theorists want is to abolish capitalism. That's all they want. That is the end goal. They say this over and over and over and over and over again. And so what you have is you have this little group of truly insane people who should probably be segregated off from society trying to make their way into like the queer spectrum. And they're kind of not welcome. So I appreciate that super chat, Rottweiler. Liz says, I think what you said right here, Carlin, said here is right. Dr. K, it's a concern, but it's not the entire story. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Aaron said, I really appreciate you answering me. I only discovered your channel yesterday, but it's clear to me you're closer to the truth than most of the stuff I've seen, including the stuff that seemed true, I think is the stuff I've seen to speak to me. Yeah, I mean, welcome, Aaron. Thank you for finding the channel. I really do appreciate it. You know, I really do try to be nuanced about this. And again, I'm always going to show you guys receipts and explain what I see, and you guys can think what you want, you know? I don't have proof of that. And I'm going to be honest, I've said this to you before. I think you hang around with conservatives too much. And maybe I'm wrong, but show me receipts, convince me. Show me receipts. Because I'm sorry, traditional queer theory comes from this. They're the same people. That's my perception right now anyway. But I don't agree with that. Andre said they are crazy to remove U-turn safely driving signs in California and some cities because the queer socialist Marxists say signs are racist. Did that actually happen? I'm not convinced that actually happened. But if that actually happened, that's a little crazy. A little cray-cray. All right, people are saying it happened. Okay, maybe I don't know everything. You know, I don't know everything. There are insane people on both sides. Child marriage is legal in some red states. It's disingenuous to make pedophilia a partisan issue. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's keep going.
Are further enabling the privatization of social safety nets. For example, the heightened emphasis on the idea that gay marriage is necessary for same-sex partners to gain health insurance allows the state to further justify not creating a system of universal health care where all people, regardless of marital status, receive necessary medical care. In the 1980s, queers agitated for universal health care in the face of a devastating AIDS epidemic that left them caring for those whom the state refused to consider worthy of the most basic care.
Okay, cool. Who are they? Who are they? And are they anomalies? Who are they? Don't, you know better. Come on. Don't, please. Because I adore you and I think you're really smart and I think you find a lot of great stuff. But please don't make me demand receipts. Come on. Who are they? And I say this as someone who's literally covered some of the map stuff. I don't see this.
care. Today, they are calling for the opposite by insisting that only those in state-mandated relationships are.
I read the Gail Rubin quote that Derek Jensen says is promoting incest. She follows up in a chapter that desiring a father's I don't even know what to say about that. Music can. Are you seeing more people engage with the smaller clips? I've always had small clips on the channel. I've always had that. People seem to like me talking into my cell phone, is what it is. It's not that I've never had small clips on my channel. It's that people seem to like me talking into my cell phone. So if that's what I need to do to get people to pay attention, fine.
Worthy of health care. The campaigns for gay marriage and their accompanying confused rhetoric have been neatly folded into a handful of other issues under the banner of equality across the United States. Equality rhetoric is short-sighted at best, and positions our most fantastic queer futures as not only unattainable, but also unreasonable. It demands that we put our time and energy into the desperate fight to be equal participants in oppressive and archaic institutions, instead of attempting to actualize our dreams of queer utopia. Furthermore, equality rhetoric has created a vacuum of gay pragmatism, in which our queer political imaginations has withered away, allowing no time or space to even imagine.
Equality rhetoric has sucked up all the energy to the point where our queer ideas have faded away.
Instead of attempting to actualize our dreams of queer utopia. Furthermore, equality rhetoric has created a vacuum of gay pragmatism, in which our queer political imaginations has withered away, allowing no time or space to even imagine more just, more equitable ways of meeting our material and effective needs as a larger community. The question remains then, how do we, as radical queer and trans folks, push back against the emerging hegemony of rainbow-flavored neoliberalism and the funneling of our energy into narrow campaigns that only reinforce the hierarchical systems and institutions we fundamentally oppose? How do we reconcile the contradiction of our anger and fervent criticism of so-called equality when presently many of our material lives depend on accessing resources through the very subject of our critique? Although I do not have concrete solutions to offer, I believe we must create more space and time to have these vital conversations, be more open and public about our critique of marriage, build coalitions with others who stand little to gain from marriage, imagine other worlds together, and dream up new ways of meeting our material and effective needs.
They literally think that queer people have little to gain from marriage. That's because you're engaging in conservative outrage clickbait content, green-eyed lady, as I explicitly just spent a whole bunch of time explaining, and I think that comes as no surprise to us, to be honest. And so if you want, that's conservative outrage content. And listen, again, I'm not saying I don't like drag queens. Drag queens are not about sexualizing kids. Drag queens are about teaching kids that gender is a performance. That's what it's about. Drag queens are about teaching kids that gender is a performance. That you can change your gender as easily as you can change your clothes. I'm not saying I like drag queens, but that's what they're about. Yep, Libs of TikTok was a mistake. Libs of TikTok is a conservative propaganda apparatus, nothing more. And Jewish. I'm just saying she's Jewish. She's Jewish. All right, let me see. What else do we have? It's 7 o'clock. You know what? I think I want to call it there. And I did expect to do more queer anarchism today. And this is my fault because I spent so much time talking and then we did the Nick Fuentes thing. I do want to continue to work our way through this. But the thing is, like, if the debate wasn't tonight, I'd be totally set to go for another hour or so, and we would have gotten through more. So we will be returning to this at some point. A lot of every non-binary person is pretending non-binary isn't real. Literally every non-binary person is pretending. There is no such thing as non-binary. It is made up. Yeah, that video was really fucking good. So I'm gonna take a little break. Dragon Ball says the anti-marriage view, marriage as complicit in capitalism, gay marriage doing the same, is a question I have for the Midwestern Marx guys. I don't think they have the same view. No. Midwestern Marx do not support queer Marxism at all. Midwestern Marx are a different type of they're like old school, like economic, like they're Stalinists. Haas is a Stalinist. I don't even know if the Midwestern Marx guys consider themselves to be Stalinists, but Haas is definitely a Stalinist. Anyway, yeah, non-binary means no binary. It means a rejection of the normal. Non-binary. Yeah, oh fuck, I'm gonna make this shirt. Non-binary is not real. Well, right, but Stalinists don't like, so Leninists, okay, so Midwestern Marxists are Leninists, but Haas is a Stalinist. A lot of Leninists don't like Stalinists because they believe that Stalin fucked everything up. So maybe it's just a marriage of convenience. I'm going to definitely make that shirt. Non-binary is not real. That definitely won't give me... I'm going to do it on like a whole old school, like... I'm going to do some sort of like horror movie poster, and it's going to say non-binary is not real on it. Some sort of like old school design. I'll figure out something cool. No, that's not what non-binary is, bro. That's not what non-binary is. Non-binary means no binary. Non-binary is a rejection of the gender binary. It is a rejection of man and woman. Non-binary completely rejects the categories of men and women as a social construct. This is not about a birth abnormality in which you have the genitals of both sexes. This is not about a birth abnormality that means like you got something weird going on. That's not what this is about. Non-binary means no gender, no binary, no gender binary, no men, no women. That's what that means. So, non-binary is fake. We're not talking about intersex. Intersex is not non-binary. Intersex is intersex. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing, but it is also a genetic abnormality. We don't create entire categories around people for a genetic abnormality. There are a million genetic abnormalities. Anyway. Guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. Hey, I want to thank everyone for asking some good questions. Even the guy that we called a retard at the beginning, he stuck around, and I appreciate that guy sticking around. I really do. I appreciate it when people stick around after we insult them. You know, some people might say that it's wrong to insult people that are new to your work, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true, but I feel like they're going to find out sooner or later that we have higher standards of evidence here than the average people on the internet. So it's better to just throw them right into the pool. Benjamin Boyce made a shirt a few years ago where he placed non-binary simply as another kind of binary choice. You know what's funny about Benjamin Boyce? So I tagged Benjamin Boyce in a tweet earlier today. Maybe you guys want to go and tag him too. I'm just really curious about this because I was posting about, what was I posting about? I was posting about something. Not Emmy O'Brien. Not this thread about James Lindsay. This one. Maybe you guys want to go reply to this and tag Benjamin Boyce because I'm actually interested in Benjamin Boyce's reply. This is a, I posted a picture from Towards the Queerest Insurrection that says the liberation for queer people is intrinsically tied to the annihilation of capitalism. Those in the last century who struggled for queer liberation also simultaneously struggled against capitalism, racism, patriarchy, and empire. And I tagged Benjamin Boyce. And I said, a while back, you had James on your show, and he told you that we, meaning us, had an elementary understanding of queer because we said it was about capitalism. I wonder if you or he can explain why they say it so clearly in their own literature. As you'll remember, James said, they're basically quoting the Communist Manifesto, and they think that this is all about the abolition of private property, but that's an elementary kindergarten level approach to socialism, and that is so far beneath me that I'm not even going to comment on it. Well, we're not actually quoting the Communist Manifesto there. We're quoting the Mary Nardini gang, who James has never heard of. And so I would love to get James Lindsay's comments on this, and I think that I've never had any beef with Benjamin Boyce. Benjamin Boyce may not like me, but I've never actually had any beef with Benjamin Boyce. I don't even know how he feels about me exactly, but I think that he is very well aware that if he's nice to me at all, then he's going to piss off James, and there's going to be a whole fucking thing, and James brings a lot of viewers to his channel, and I respect that. I don't want to get in the middle of anything, but if Benjamin Boyce is an ethically honest human being, and I think that he does have intellectual integrity, I've always appreciated his nuance and artfulness, I do think he should maybe question James about this the next time James is on his channel, because this is not from the Communist Manifesto, this is from the Mary Nardini gang. And I can provide a million other examples of things that say basically the same thing. So if I'm doing such a kindergarten level analysis of this, according to James Lindsay, I want him to answer for these primary source receipts. I didn't make this shit up. So why can't he talk about it? If you can't deal with someone on the internet calling you a retard, you don't stand a chance against the far left. See, that's actually my thought process. It's like, if you can't handle me, and you can't handle my tone, and you can't handle my level of bitchiness, you're not doing anything with the far left. Like, let's be realistic about it. You can go and cry into a corner and lock yourself in your house and watch soap operas or the Daily Wire, and Steven Crowder can sing you to sleep, or like whatever the fuck is going on. You can find all sorts of people to be nice to you on the internet in exchange for money. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm also going to be myself. If people don't like that, whatever. Anyway, guys, we will be back for the debate starting probably in about an hour and a half. Maybe I'll start it a little earlier, and we'll do a little pregame, and we'll watch some debate coverage. And Nick said he was going to start Nick said he was going to start streaming like now. Is Nick actually streaming? Nick said he was going to start streaming like now. Going live on Rumble at 6 p.m. Central Time. So Nick claims he's going to go live now. I think that's way early for the debate. I think Nick was probably mixing up his time zones. I would be surprised if Nick went live right now. Anyway, I'm going to go get some dinner, though. Guys, I will see you a little bit later for the debate. Please mount the like button on the way out the door. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Does everyone want to hear the new James Lindsay song on the way out the door? I should play it again. Please enjoy Critically Unwoke's new song, Pied Piper James, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Pied Piper James, take the way deceiver. Your life to millions, you're why we lose. Pied Piper James, great deceiver. You're living in delusion, and you're why we lose. James Lindsay spinning tails, got a fantasy in play, pocketing that cash while he's leading minds astray. Milfs for liberty, he's cashing in the bucks, but his logic's out of whack, man, it's all just muck. Left hates capitalism, he's blind to the facts. Queer theories misunderstood, it's a different attack. Destabilizing norms, breaking down the walls, but James blocks the truth, man, he's lost in the halls. Pied Piper James, great deceiver. Your lies are weak, we're calling out the truth. Pied Piper James, great deceiver. You steal from us, yet you're still deluded. Echo chamber stick, it's a bubble of deceit. While he's pocketing the green, we're exposing the cheat. Anarchy drops the mask with a bang. Where liberation means capital limits, that's the goal. Stop blocking the truth, James, open up your eyes. Our theories misunderstood, capitalism's a pride. Destroying the old norms, shaking up the scene. Face up to reality, stop the serial line. James, great deceiver. Your lies are weak, we're calling out the truth. Pied Piper James, great deceiver. You steal from us, yet you're still deluded. Echo chamber stick, a bullet down. Whiteness, capitalism, it's all intertwined. Queer theory's the lens, but you're way behind. Liberation means capitalism's gone. Jump, change, face, hurry up. Your life will cost us the war, that's the price. No property, no house, no business, no money, no reality built on your lies. Hyper James, great deceiver. Parents follow your advice, kids pay the price. Hyper James, great deceiver. You